welcome to the Lowdown Mortgage Podcast, the show where we dive deep into the topics that directly impact the evolving originator. I'm your host, Connor Bartley. Bam! And joining me today is someone who started her mortgage career as a teen mom at 18 years old, never finished college, and figured out early on that the only way to truly serve her community was to build something that could run without her, which she eventually proved by going through 6 months of chemotherapy, all while her business kept growing. She's the founder of the Lady Lender brand in Houston, Texas, and is rewriting what a modern mortgage branch looks like from the inside out. Samantha Bustos, welcome to the Lowdown.
Thank you so much, Connor, for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you. I know we've kept in touch over the years. And so it's great to have you on this podcast to get your story out there because I've always been impressed by you and just
Thank
sort of
you.
know that you're going to do great things in this business and you've already accomplished a lot. So I like to just kind of start at the beginning. It's a very good place to start, right? Most people in your career, you kind of got started selling insurance. And I know most people in mortgage wouldn't track their career back to selling insurance at 20 years old, but you had a mentor who taught you how to manage a CRM. And you said you didn't really fully realize what she had handed you until recently. What was it that she taught that really stuck with you?
She always used a CRM to manage her business, and she was also very successful. She was definitely someone that I looked up to and didn't even realize it at that time. I was very young and really had no business even having a kid, but I did. And I was still kind of in that phase where I was only 20, 21, and I had a real job. And I kind of was like, I don't want somebody to tell me what to do. But she always stuck through with me and she saw success in me from day one. I still keep in touch with her to this day, but I loved her leadership and I implement that into my everyday leadership skills. But most importantly, she taught me how to use a CRM. And to this day, I've implemented and mirrored that same style into the mortgage industry.
I love that. The CRM, keeping in touch with past clients, all of those things, and just having automated touches and knowing what the playbook is, so important in mortgage. And clearly it's, been a big part of what you've done. But at some point, as you matured in the business, your production grew, you started to realize that the environment you were in wasn't supporting you in the way that you needed to be supported. What was the moment that you knew you had outgrown it? And then what was the first thing you changed once you had the keys?
So it was actually a moment where my leadership was asking me what I was doing to get an influx of business. And obviously, I was always happy to share, but then I quickly realized that's kind of a problem that my leadership is coming to me. And I get at the end of the day, it's all about collaborating. So, like, even now, leadership does collaborate, but there were other things like, not supporting me with, these huge parties that I would throw. It was a combination of a lot of things, but also asking for, "Hey, I need help. I need an assistant." And realizing how on this island I was, like, didn't have someone to teach me how to delegate. It was a lot of trial and error, a lot of mistakes that I made. And I felt like as a leader, I felt like this individual should have been teaching me how to delegate, what happens when you start to scale and you just can no longer keep up. And so, having control of what I wanted to pay this person, what I felt like they were worth. And, it was then my husband was like, we need to start our own stuff. And I had always told myself, I don't want to be a branch manager. I don't want these types of problems. And I quickly realized in order for me to scale and take care of people like the way that I want to, I have to start my own thing. So it was kind of like this aha moment of I've now mastered the lead generating and I've now mastered, how to deliver great customer service. Now I just need to master being a leader. And so that's what I did. And then one of the first things that I implemented when I started my branch was creative control. Like, having control of how much I wanted to pay somebody, how I wanted things to be structured. My structure, my on my team is one that you probably will never find. A lot of people say it doesn't make sense, but for us, like we're on the top of one of the top branches of my company, like it works for us. And so I've created this infrastructure of just endless help to loan officers. I took what I didn't have. Like I was like, I didn't have somebody that was ordering the verification of employments. I kind of did everything. And I hired these people that can do these things for the loan officers so the loan officers can continue to sell.
Yeah. That's a great, I guess, story there. I love that you decided, like, you recognize that you weren't getting the support. They didn't understand what you were doing, and then you just took initiative and said, "Screw it, I'm going to go do it myself and figure this thing out." And so now you're
Mhm.
on this
Pretty
really cool
much.
journey of growth that is by design, and it's your design. And the truth of the matter is,
Mhm.
not every leader in this industry has experience leading a top 1% originator. And so they haven't been, not every leader has seen that kind of business, knows what to do with it, knows what kind of support you're going to need. So anyway, as continue to grow, you went on and built out your own CRM infrastructure from the ground up with a friend of yours. Now, what's the biggest gap that
Mhm.
you see between what you imagined in the beginning when you started and now what it's actually become?
Well, I think the gap is that loan officers are still using Excel spreadsheets to manage their leads. And I was one of those loan officers too, but I feel like things were falling through the cracks. There's no way that you can remember to follow up with somebody that may have been a credit challenge client 6 months ago and have them on some sort of spreadsheet and really believe that that spreadsheet is going to help you scale your business. So, with my CRM, I put everything in there. Every single client has a task until my team and I get paid on it. And it could be something as simple as, client needs to pay down debt. Task is reset. Every person on my team, my assistants, I have assistants that run only the CRM. That's their main job. They know what each scenario and when that task would be due. So every client has a task until we get paid on it. So there's endless business. I mean, like I said, I have girls in the front end that are just constantly doing follow up. And I just feel like that really completed the gap in loan officers going from 10 million to now 20 million to 30 million to where I'm at. And I couldn't do it without my CRM. So now when I'm recruiting loan officers, I know they're having the same problems because I am top 1% originator of in the Scotsman guide. I know what a loan officer is lacking. And so now I go and coach and mentor them on the systems that I use, which I do use a combination of Excel spreadsheets, but I don't just solely rely on an Excel spreadsheet. Have my CRMs that also go hand in hand with the spreadsheets. And I mean, it's my entire success.
Yeah. I'm just envisioning what a spreadsheet would have to look like to cover all the different touch points and tasks that you've built into your CRM. Like, I can't imagine anyone managing your CRM by spreadsheet. It's got to be incredibly complex. But at the same time, so does this
Very.
business. Like, the process that you walk a client through, it's very, complex. So impressive work, by the way. But
Thank
you
you.
have really built a brand on social media, and that's become a pretty, important engine for your business. And you're already weaving AI into it to handle some of the DMs and turn client scenarios into content in real time. So for the loan officer that's just posting sporadically today and getting nothing back, like, what are they getting wrong? And what's the first move that you would tell them?
So, in regards to social media, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Um, I think a lot of people, because I've also, like everything that we're talking about, I've been through it. I think a lot of people want like this picture perfect social media video. And I think that the viewer just doesn't care. They just want the information. And I think at first it's very, very nerve wracking to jump on the camera and have conversations with social media and feel like you're not being judged. We're humans at the end of the day. But it's almost one of those things that you just have to do it and stop overthinking it. When I first started, now my social media is a little bit more strategic. I can actually plan it out in advance. But when I first got started with social media, I would literally write down questions that clients would ask me, and then I would go and recreate the video in regards to a question that that client asked me that day. And I still do that to this day. I still will be like, oh, that's a good question. Like, is it 20% to purchase a house, right? There's a lot of misconception. I'd write that down. And then the next day I'd be in my car and I'd do a video. Hey, I had a client yesterday ask if it's 20% to purchase a house. And I can't imagine how many other people think that it is 20% down. That's not the case. There's down payment assistance that can assist you. You don't need an influx of savings to accomplish homeownership, and just use all of this information to educate my community. And it resulted in followers, realtors wanting to do business with me when we throw our events. It's hard for us to, we can't be at one place at one time. So with the happy hours that we throw, we're actually throwing one tonight. We invite all these followers that are realtors that already follow us on social media and actually want to meet us in person. And it's just a combination of all of these seeds that are being planted. And it's all truly because of social media.
Yeah, it's very smart. Just the simple act of just writing down the question and then creating a video to respond to that question. I think there's a real quiet like genius to that, in that you're not getting involved in, the bigger picture things that are out in the news that you think people might know or want to know more about, but you're just taking the actual questions that real people are asking and then you're answering them. The signal that that sends is that you already are anticipating their needs. You know what they're thinking. It's like they're thinking, wow, Samantha just like, she already knows what's on my mind. Like, this is incredible,
Mhm.
and it just
Right.
highlights you even more so as an authority that way, versus just kind of like talking about what's going on with the Fed minutes and, the different
Right.
things that
It's
maybe
like people don't
most customers aren't
understand
going to.
that.
Yeah. So now you're 2 years into running the branch. You got 10 people depending on you. And then came the diagnosis.
Mhm.
You were diagnosed with cancer. You kept buying properties, kept growing, went through 6 months of chemotherapy. What was going through your mind? And what did it force you to do inside your business that maybe you wouldn't have done otherwise?
I think as people, not just business people, as mothers, as husbands, as anything, we should always be evolving mentally. But it really forced me to kind of look in the mirror and be like, am I truly happy? Like, I can't keep doing this forever. I'm still really young. I play a lot of roles. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter. And it was kind of my rude awakening that, like, I need to start delegating a lot of these things that I feel, because I'm a control freak. I'm a leader. Most leaders probably are control freaks. That's why they're in leadership, because they have built something so amazing that someone else was inspired by it. So I used to hate being called a boss. Like, I always wanted to be, I didn't never try to feel like I'm better than someone. And I always struggled with that. I always was like, no, I'm equal. But then I was like, you know what? Like, this is a blessing that I've been given to have this, and I can truly change so many lives with my leadership skills and being a boss and being this woman that is a wife and a mom. There's so many other people that can relate to that, like even fathers that, have these demanding jobs and still have to come home and still be a dad. So when I got sick, I felt like it was just God's way of telling me, like, you really need to chill. Like, you need to relax. And I didn't have a choice. I got chemo on Friday and I was sick until Monday or Tuesday. I couldn't get out of bed. I mean, it's a pain that I would never wish on anyone, because you're just so sick. And so during that time, I felt like I had to make decisions fast, and I started delegating a lot of stuff to not only loan officers, it was kind of my recruiting pitch. I'm like, I have an influx of leads and I need help with it. And there might be a loan officer that's stuck at 5, $8 million a year. And they're like, we want leads. And I started realizing, where loan officers are like, or just even people in general, they're like, I don't want to pass my leads because I want to be the one making all that money. And it's great until it's not. It's great until your mental health and your health in general is in jeopardy and you're just not the best version of yourself. You're running so thin. And so when I first started passing my leads, I was really scared because I knew I was taking a huge pay cut to pay the LO that was running it. I was taking a pay cut to pay an assistant, pay loan partners, pay all these people. But in essence, I was making more money. And I feel like I had to go through that to be who I am today, to learn delegation. It took my health. And even today, I still am working and working crazy hours, and I'm still trying to find that work life balance. But I will say that it's the first time in my career that I could literally go to Jamaica, like I just did, and feel like everything for the most part it's not perfect, but I don't have to be stuck behind my computer. I can take that mental health break and rely on my team. I've trained them. They have a lot of respect for me. I have a lot of respect for them. There's a very good culture. We all help each other. There's no sales versus ops. There's so many misconception that it's sales versus ops. That is the case, but here it's like, I have to have branch manager meetings and talk about that we all have the same goals and just like instill these really good moral values that we're all like, none of us want to be grinding like this, but we are all on the same page and we all have to be a team. And I think my team really, really takes everything that I say into consideration. And if it wasn't for me going through chemo, I don't think that the branch would be where it's at today. It honestly helped
Mm.
me be a better leader.
Yeah. Well, it definitely sounds like it was a blessing in disguise moment.
Hmm.
Forced you to slow down, which also created an opportunity for you to speed up by slowing down. And it sounds like
Hmm.
you've just got some awesome, awesome people working with you
I
that
do.
truly have your back. That's incredible.
I do. I'm
Now
very
there's
blessed.
there's another piece of the puzzle here. Your husband actually runs a real estate team and you guys work together, right? How do
Mhm.
you two, which I can't imagine that dynamic, right? But
It's
how
very
do you two
hard.
divide? Yeah, I bet. How do you two divide the business side of things? Like, and is there a rule about where like the work conversation ends and the marriage and family
Well,
conversation
we're
begins?
still trying to figure that out, to be honest with you. But, when we met through work. So it kind of was like our purpose. And I think my husband and I, we have like, we're yin and yang. Like if I'm being psychotic, he knows how to calm me down and vice versa. And we both, we have conversations all the time about like what our end goal is. And our end goal isn't to be working at this capacity forever. But I do feel like when you are successful or you're in this type of role, that it does come with a sacrifice. And I think as long as you're a partner and you kind of know what that end goal is. And like for us, as you mentioned, we own many properties, we own land, we own things like that. And for us, the reason why we do that is because that is our exit strategy. We have other things outside of mortgages, that projects that we are able to do because of the income with mortgages. And so I think we both are on the same page, that we know that we're grinding right now. It's grind time.
Yeah, that's impressive. Like what you guys have built in the short amount of time that I've known you. Like I said in the beginning, it's very impressive, and it's been a lot of fun to watch you just continuously grow. And now to get the story behind it. Now, when we spoke before, kind of leading up to recording this, I asked a question about if you were on Shark Tank and got an investment, what would you spend that investment on? And your answer was you'd put it all into building the best CRM for loan officers. What does that CRM look like?
So I like the one that I use right now, but I feel like it is lacking a couple of things. I would say, man, everything like text messages to clients. Right now, like it's very complicated when I pass a lead to an LO. Like it is somehow integrated, but not at the capacity that I need it to. So I'd like have integration for teams that all need to have access to the same CRM. And when they update a task, it updates as a universal task. The CRM for the most part does that, but there's just little things that could be better. Like for instance, a borrower and a co-borrower. Like it's very complicated when there's a borrower and a co-borrower on one lead. It's like two different files. And so it's there's little things that I'm like, gosh, if only it had, where like when you send an email, it stamps the email in the CRM. When you send a text message, like, anybody that logs into the CRM that's affiliated to your team can see the ongoing conversation. The CRM right now, if one loan officer is on my team, they can't have the same client in the CRM. Like I have to give rights to the other LO to have the same realtor. It's like, and for me, it's like maybe a lot of people would be like, oh, that makes sense because we don't want to all be going after the same realtor. But at the same time, it's like, no, because if a realtor connects more with you than this person, like we should all have access to that same realtor, right? And then kind of market the way we want. So that's kind of what I would think. I would absolutely build out a CRM that's just a lot user friendly that you're not, because there's a lot of people that aren't younger generation and technology can be very overwhelming. And I think that's why a lot of loan officers don't do the social media marketing because they don't know how, they're scared of it. They're older loan officers. And unfortunately, younger loan officers like my team and I, because we're all pretty much around the same age, we understand the social media and we understand the technology. And we're getting more business because of that versus a loan officer that is older and accustomed to their ways. And so to me, it would be so fulfilling to just create this system that's user friendly for all ages. Like you don't need to be this like beast at technology. You just need to know the basics.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and to your point about social media, I'm 44. I don't know if that makes me old. Some people might say that's old. Some people listening to this might say you're a young guy. I'm kind of in that middle, but I'm just
Right.
now figuring out like, got my first Facebook account last year, Instagram. I'm asking my kids, like, how
Mhm.
do I do this? How do I do that? So
Right.
thankfully, I've got two great teenage daughters that are willing to help dad out. But yeah, it can be intimidating, but you've
It's very
gotta
intimidating.
get in there and figure it out. Now,
You do.
as we
Yeah,
wrap
you
up
have to
here,
figure it out.
Samantha, and recently you mentioned that you just went on a trip to Jamaica, unplugged for a little bit. You said that success means that being genuinely happy and knowing that your business can run without you. Now that you've been on this trip and got a kind of a test run on that, what did that feel like? And for someone who's been like just in that grind for years and still can't step away, what do you tell them?
It's a little bit of a combination of emotions, right? Because it's liberating to be able to do that, but then also there's still things that can always be improved, right? I think it's just letting go of things that you can't control, right? Like if you know that you have this amazing team and they're doing their absolute best, it's again letting that control freak like just let it be because I think with my leadership, instead of like putting the finger and being like, why didn't you do this? It's like, how can we collaborate together? Because even going on Jamaica, it wasn't perfect. Like I told you, Wednesday, I plugged up for 45 minutes and I like immediately closed my laptop and I was like, I will get sucked into this. And when I got back on Monday, I had to have a talk with my team and was like, listen, like I work 7 days a week. Like I don't have a day off. So when I go on these trips, it's really important for me and not just me. It's not just about me, but for you when you go on trips to really unplug and have a mental break because this job is incredibly demanding. Everyone needs things now. There's no waiting. Like everyone, wants things fast. It's a very fast industry and like just continuously improving but knowing that that's okay. Like don't give yourself grace because running a business is not easy. Being a leader is not easy. Having all this pressure on you is not easy, but if you can just give yourself grace and you realize like when you're battling something like cancer, you're like none of that really matters. Like it does, but it doesn't. And just constantly improving and knowing that you're doing the absolute best you can. That's all you can do.
Yeah. Well, that's phenomenal advice. I really appreciate you joining the lowdown, sharing your story. I'll give you one more opportunity. Is there anything that I haven't asked about? Anything that you'd like to share with the audience before we say goodbye?
I would say if you're in a position to you're a loan officer and you just don't know where to get started, my best recommendation is start going to events and dumping every single person that you met at that event into a CRM and start drip campaigning them, start texting them, text them programs that you have. Hi, we have a program right now that's a five and a quarter with no discount points, things like that. And if you are just consistent, you will start to see the fruits of your labor.
Guys, follow Samantha on Insta. What's the best place to follow you? Instagram, TikTok, Facebook?
Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. On
Where can
Instagram
people
and
find you?
TikTok. Yeah, on Instagram and TikTok, I go by Lady Lender. TikTok, I kind of was like, I want to have more fun with this, but I don't post too much on there. And then on Facebook, you can find me at Samantha Bustos. And I use all of my platforms to talk about mortgages and products. And you're more than welcome to take anything that I post and recreate it and put it into your own spin.
Well, I'll make sure to add those links in the notes. And Samantha, just thank you so much for joining the lowdown and wish you nothing but the best in the future.
Thank you so much, Connor.